basically just going to go and give a coup de grace to anyone that needs it. There were some mounted riders at Tewksbury. They were called prickers, which amuses me because I am actually a child at heart. And they were used as messengers or to cover distance quickly. Because the only problem with the Battle of the Champions is half the champions wind up dead, which could have some bearing on what happens next. Oh dear, it's getting a bit pushy-shovey in the middle there, isn't it? Bit grapply, whitey, scratchy. Scratchy his eyes out, go, oh! That's going to smart tomorrow.
These are real combats, folks, they're not scripted. Those men-at-arms are winning honour for themselves in the eyes of their fellow reenactors. I can actually see one apologising to his opponent for having brought him down a bit too hard.
This is the weird dichotomy between putting on an absolutely authentic display and something that has some kind of entertainment value, I think. So back to the history. You can see the king there in front of his standard. He appears to be surveying the landscape, seeing what's going on. Richard Gloucester is there talking to his advisors, his standard flying as well.
The Yorkists are actually looking a lot more relaxed than the Lancastrians at this point. The Lancastrians are in a straighter line. For the first time, they're starting to have a cohesive army. They're firing back at the Yorkists. But this could be because the Yorkists are increasingly confident. They sense they're on the edge of victory. The king's right out there in front of his army, striding along it, sword in hand. The white plumes on his helmet blowing the breeze, bringing up his centre to form another mailed fist, ready to go straight for the chin of his enemy. And Edward leads his men into a charge, right for the Lancastrian centre. This is the very first time that York has launched a serious attack on Lancaster. Until now, Lancaster has made all the running, but York, sensing its enemy is weakening, is going in for what it hopes will be a kill.
They went in at the charge there, and you could actually hear the impact as they hit each other. I actually sort of drew a breath there because I know how much that's going to hurt. They're committing, and that's going to be a very serious fight. I just see plumes bobbing about here. So there's the Prince of Wales over to my left, and there's the King just coming out of the back there, at my left. Right, sorry. Somerset and Gloucester's men just engaged. Bit of a war of attrition going on there. This line fighting I was saying about.
And at the very far end of the field, Lord Hastings has now launched his attack on the Earl of Devon. So the entire Yorkist army is now fully engaged with Lancaster. These men are really tired now, and so for that matter are these reenactors. You can see the fatigue showing in the blows they're trying to rain on each other. Some still fighting really hard, Somerset's men with particular desperation, as they sense they're now outnumbered and tired.
all breaking down rather into individual fights though. It's getting very uncoordinated, isn't it?
Yes, the formations are breaking up.
Both sides separated.
Yes, it's another standoff, but probably the very last of the day, because they can't keep this up much longer, either in 1471 or in 2023. The toll, the strain on the muscles, the amount of dehydration involved is just too great. The Yorkist general attack has failed. Incredibly, Lancaster is still there, but its ranks are thinning, and its order is breaking up again. The Yorkists now look not only more numerous, but also in more solid, larger formations and better coordinated.
And psychologically, the Yorkists have just had a great victory at Barnet. They know that their star is in the ascendant, and that's going to have some kind of impact on the way the men are feeling, and therefore the way the men are committing. Oh, you see the artillery then just had a very solid hit there. The bodies are beginning to hit the deck. Oh, I think Somerset may be kicking off. Keep your eyes on Somerset there, over to our left. He's not happy.
No, Somerset's working himself into a greater and greater rage. He can't stand still. He keeps literally stamping his feet on the ground and flaunting his battle axe. He's raving at his men. Is he working himself up to something?
I don't know. Yes, he is.
No, he is. He's going for Lord Wenlock, his own fellow general. And the bewildered Wenlock is walking forward to try and reason with him. Somerset's convinced himself that Wenlock is a traitor, that his failure to support him at the beginning was all part of a plot with the Yorkists. Wenlock's begging him to reason. Somerset's beyond it. He's pushing him, he's shouting at him. And Wenlock's now losing his temper and has struck back at Somerset. And Somerset, with his axe, is cutting into him, has knocked his sword away, and has just split his head open.
Oh. I mean,
The Duke of Suffolk, he's killed his own fellow general.
there's friendly fire and there's that.
You can't actually get better at own goals than that. So the entire centre of the Lancastrian army now lacks a leader.
It just has a 17-year-old boy.
Yes, except for an inexperienced, if extremely courageous teenager. Wenlock's body has been dragged off the field, and a foaming Duke of Somerset stomps back to his division, which is now way to the right of the Lancastrian army, and no longer cooperating with it. This is a catastrophe.
The young Prince of Wales there striding
Yes.
across the field without help. Oh, the King as well, look!
Yes, the two Edwards are coming together. This is the last chance to try to avert tragedy. The two of them are talking. You can see the sun shining on the blonde head of the young prince.
Oh!
And a knee in the stomach from the king, and a punch to the jaw from the prince, and they're at each other with swords.
Very polite.
They're doing very well. The young man is faster and more agile. The king is stronger and more experienced. And now the Yorkists are charging to help their king, and the Lancastrians coming in to help their prince.
You can hear the smash as the armoured men hit each other, literally with full force of their bodies, their body weight in the armour.
Yes, they're like a field of steel poppies waving in the breeze. But they're lethal poppies and they're on the move. And here's Richard bringing in his wing to attack the now outnumbered and weakened wing of the Duke of Somerset.
Wow, it's looking increasingly bad for the Lancastrians, isn't it?
And Somerset's men are on the run. Somerset has broken through and he is legging it, battle axe in hand, with a few surviving followers, heading for the safety, as he thinks, of Tewksbury Abbey. The commander of the right wing of the Lancastrian army has just abandoned the battle and left the rest of his men to die. And Richard, the still ice-cool teenager in charge of the left wing of Edward's army, is ordering up the rest of his men to kill the rest of Somerset.
The Lancastrian troops, of course, were chased back. A lot of them tried to turn tail and run, tried to escape. They were chased into the water, many of them drowned. Some of them tried to seek safety in town and were hunted down and killed. And of course, many were killed on the ground on which we are now standing. They are bones beneath our feet.
On the far side of the field, the Earl of Devon's wing is now run. Most of the Lancastrian centre is dead. But the Prince of Wales is still there. He's right in front of you in the centre, behind the remaining fighting, and facing forward to face Edward's and Richard of Gloucester's men. And the king is leading his personal bodyguard down to help his brother Richard, facing the much smaller bodyguard of the Lancastrian prince. The king facing and raising up his brother and his brother's men, congratulating him, and then preparing to turn upon the Prince of Wales and settle the old scores.
The crown on the helmet there being held aloft by one of his men, one of his
yes.
chief generals.
The King's Chancellor, wearing his gold chain off, is flaunting the royal helmet. The King bareheaded. And in goes the bodyguard of the Prince, throwing themselves against Edward's larger force. In the last one-to-one combats of the day. The Prince of Wales has killed one of Edward's men who came to tackle him, and standing alone is facing another, and has put him down. But whereas the king is surrounded by his guards, the prince is now alone, and has killed a third of Edward's men. Edward's coming forward. The choice before him is to play safe and let his men take the prince down, or to go forward and fight him himself, one by one. And the prince is challenging the king. And sending his men back, the king accepts the prince's challenge. And the two face each other, sword in hand, each one having lost his helmet. The king is taunting the prince by telling him he's no true son of his father, that his actual father was the Duke of Somerset. It's the worst insult to which the Prince of Wales could be subjected. The king is winning in terms of invective, but losing in terms of vulgarity.
You can hear him going.
And now, surrounded by the Yorkist army, the prince prepares to fight the king one-to-one in single combat. And he slams the king in the stomach. That will have bruised Edward in his midriff. He'll have a very sore tummy after that. In he goes, and he's been slashed across the back. It hasn't penetrated his armour, but again, he'll have been bruised. The king is an older man, and he's feeling, he's twice cut the prince. He's made a comeback. The prince is now genuinely wounded. Those slashes went through his guard. He's losing blood. And a final slash, back and stomach, gives the prince a serious wound. And the Chancellor strides forward, holding the royal helmet with the crown upon it, kicks the prince to turn him over, and flaunts the crowned helmet in front of the dying boy. The king comes forward to give him the coup de grace. As the young man comes to his knees, he's kicked again by the king. And then the king raises him up by his circuit, puts his sword to the throat, and dares him to beg for mercy. And with his last breath, the prince shouts, "Lancaster," and the king cuts his throat. And the last hope of the House of Lancaster dies, as King Edward falls to his feet, exhausted and badly bruised. And a Yorkist banner bearer gallantly brings the flag over to cover the body of the dead prince and leave him in some honour. The king is being tended, given water, revived. Something that you need to know is that the two men who play the parts of the King and of the Prince of Wales have done so, both of them, for around 14 years together. And this is their very last time in those roles.